Hey, we've reached the halfway point of Mark's gospel, and it's right here that Jesus seems to draw a line in the sand for his disciples. He gave them the most important question that he had ever asked them. It's also the most important question you will ever answer, so this is a really important day in our reading plan. Now, as is the case in so many of these stories, the setting of this story makes the question even more dramatic. Jesus traveled to the region of Caesarea Philippi, which is more than 2 days' journey north of the Sea of Galilee. All of the villages along the northern end of the lake are Jewish communities. This is where most of the disciples had come from. This is where they lived. The people there are imperfect, but by and large, they are trying to love God with all their hearts, all their minds, and all their souls. But as the disciples followed Jesus north, they left the Jewish world behind them. The further north they traveled, the more they moved into pagan territory. At Caesarea Philippi, even today, you can find the foundations of some of the worst pagan temples found anywhere in Israel, there at the base of Mount Hermon. Greek gods like Pan and Zeus were celebrated here. There was even a temple honoring the Roman emperor as divine. This is also the birthplace of the Jordan River. Now, technically, it's the Banyas River at this point. Did you notice it seems to have an instantaneous start at the base of the cliff? Before 1837, and certainly while Jesus was here, the water came out of the cave. And even the cave had connection to pagan gods. People thought of the cave as the gateway to the underworld, or what they called Hades. In Matthew's telling of this story, Jesus even refers to the cave. He says, "On this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it." With all of this as a background, Jesus turned to his disciples and asked them, "Who do people say that I am?" And they replied, some say John the Baptist, come back to life. Others say Elijah, still others, one of the prophets. "But what about you?" he asked. "Who do you say that I am?" And that is the most important question any of us will ever answer. Who is Jesus to you? We have a world full of religious options. No matter what others are saying about Jesus, you need to answer the question, who do you say that he is? You know, Simon Peter was the first to say it plainly. Jesus, you are the Messiah. As we cover the rest of this passage, remember again that Mark's gospel is actually Simon Peter's story. Mark was not with the group on the day that Jesus brought his disciples to Caesarea Philippi, but Simon was there, and in time, he would tell these stories to Mark, and Mark eventually wrote them down for us. So it's interesting that in Simon's retelling of this story in Mark's gospel, all of the emphasis is on Jesus. Sure, Simon played a part. He had the honor of announcing that Jesus was the Messiah. That's the first time that had ever happened, so it's a big deal. But a moment later, Simon tried to tell Jesus what to do, and Jesus said, "Get behind me, Satan." It was a horrible rebuke. And if I were Simon Peter, I don't think I would have kept it in this story. But Simon Peter did keep it in the story. And he left out something really good. In Matthew's account, Jesus gave Simon a new name, Peter, the rock, and he gave Simon Peter the rock the keys to the kingdom. Now, whatever that means, it's a big deal. The church has looked with great favor upon Simon Peter ever since that moment. After all, the man has the keys to the kingdom. But look at it. The compliment for Simon Peter is not in the Gospel of Mark. If Simon is telling Mark all of these great stories, then the part about having the keys to the kingdom is intentionally left out. Simon was very young when he first became a disciple, and he had a lot to learn. He made more than his share of mistakes. All of us make mistakes as we try to figure it out too. But I tell you what, being called Satan by Jesus is about as bad as it gets. As the years went by, Simon Peter matured. And this is the natural order of things. You meet Jesus, you start the journey of discipleship, you learn through your successes and failures, you mature as a believer. When Simon Peter told this story and when Mark wrote it down for us, you get the sense that Simon wanted us to see this. And so he left out the keys to the kingdom compliment. He took the spotlight off of himself. All Simon wanted and all Mark wanted to communicate was that it's only important for us to see Jesus for who he is. And by all means, Mark wants us to answer the question, who do you say that he is? This is no simple matter. The biggest question of your life carries the biggest consequences of your life. Jesus said, you want to be my disciple? This is going to be about you denying yourself. You have to take up your own cross. You need to follow me. I'm asking you to give up everything in order to follow me. If you don't give it all up now, you will lose it all later. Even more, Jesus said, if anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his Father's glory with his holy angels. So no kidding, this is the most important question you will ever answer. It's also the most important decision you will ever make. The consequences of your answer will be with you for the rest of your life and throughout eternity. So it's time to answer the question, who do you say that Jesus is?